Shalom everyone and good evening. I'm Amir and this is our live Mideast update from Galilee, Israel. And before we start with everything we planned on showing you today, just so you know, breaking news, just minutes ago, Israel eliminated number 2 in Hezbollah in the heart of Beirut. Minutes ago, I am unable to upload the video. It just came out. So you go to my Telegram, which you can clearly see up here if you don't have it, and look at the videos. Drama in Beirut. These are breaking news. Number 2 in Hezbollah, Haj Muhsen, a member of the religious committee of Hezbollah, number 2, only second to Hassan Nasrallah, was just eliminated in the heart of Beirut's the Dakhia area. We'll talk more about what happened, what are we going to do about the massacre that took place on Saturday. But this is right now, minutes ago, and again, I hope this is not the end of the Israeli response to the massacre that took place on Saturday in Majd al-Sham. So before we start our Mideast update, let me start with a prayer. Father, I thank you that you are presiding over the affairs of men, that you know all things, and you basically declare the end from the beginning. And we can rest in you, knowing that you are in full control. And Father, now we ask that this Mideast update will not only inform and educate, but also bring much clarity as well as comfort to your people. We thank you and we bless you in the name of Yeshua. Amen. So shalom again, I'm Amir Tsarfati. This is our Mideast update from Galilee, from Connect. And again, breaking news, just minutes ago, Israel eliminated number 2 in Hezbollah in response to the massacre that took place just about a few days ago on Saturday. And we are going to talk about it. I was about to start with the Olympic Games and just wait for you guys to join us and then talk about the important thing, which is what happened on Saturday and the Israeli response. So again, I know there are breaking news. I know things just happen, but I want you just to try and disconnect for a minute. Go back to Friday night, to a horrific, satanic, diabolic and pagan opening ceremony of the Olympic Games, but it didn't start then. In fact, days before, in preparation for the Olympic Games, take a look at this tweet that the Olympic Committee basically showed. Again, we're going back to the Olympic Games, guys, and take a look at the tweet that speaks of Zeus, speaks of the god of sun. Again, this is it, yes. So take a look in the topics down below. Please, let's go back to the Olympic Games and take a look. It says Apollo, god of sun and the idea of light, send your rays and light the sacred torch for the hospitable city of Paris. This is how they wanted to start the Olympic Games, by clear worship of Zeus. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't think he sent them light. If anything, you'll see in a few seconds, darkness came upon Paris. But then came the opening ceremony, and one thing after another from the Bible was mocked by a group of crazy, stupid, progressive liberals. Take a look. The pale horse of the book of Revelation is one thing they show. They mocked the Last Supper by a group of transvestites and an overweight lesbian that played as Jesus. Look at this sickening sight of men dressed like women appearing in a sexual way on stage. There were other things where literally, even parts of human genitals or men genitals were exposed on camera. This is Marie Antoinette. Even the golden calf had an appearance, or at least a golden head of a bull, as you can see over there next to the calf. But look, one thing after another, it was such an uproar that they had to even apologize. But Paris, the next night, experienced this one. Take a look at this one. Boom. Lights were off. Power outage all over Paris. It was completely dark. Only in the very, very distance you can see the Sacré-Cœur, the famous church on the Montmartre. That's the only place that had some lights on. A church had lights on. The rest of the city was actually in complete darkness. Of course, they said that it was an act of sabotage. I think it was very symbolic that the night after such a demonic and pagan ceremony, the lights were out in Paris. Now, if that's not enough, Paris is a show of hypocrisy and anti-Semitism. We'll start with the fact that for the first time we have a Palestine delegation, a delegation of a country that is not even in existence, a country that was allowed to not only send athletes, but to have them wearing stuff that is not something that anyone is allowed to. Look, they show weapons of Israelis and rockets and missiles. And if that's not enough, they forbid the Israelis from wearing the yellow ribbon in memory of our hostages. Now, if that's not enough, I just want you to know that of the 8 members of the Palestine delegation, only one literally qualified to the Olympics, and he was defeated upon the first fight, and the rest of them are not even people who were born in the West Bank or Gaza. So it's just a show of hypocrisy and lunacy. The Israeli delegation was not even mentioned by the BBC. When you see them coming on the boat on the Seine River, and you can clearly see, everybody could see them, but the BBC decided to talk about the Palestinians and completely even ignore that one. Now, if that's not enough, we've seen one after another so far in the very first few days, acts of anti-Semitism. For example, this Israeli judoka that you see had a fight with a judoka from Tajikistan. This one is a judoka that his counterpart from Algeria decided that he doesn't want to fight, so he ate a lot and disqualified himself when it comes to the weight. But besides that, there was another one, not this one, but there was another one from Tajikistan named Norali Amomali, who refused to shake the hand of the Israeli, and then in his next fight, after he said Allahu Akbar, he actually seriously injured his shoulder and finished his story in the Olympic Games. I guess you don't want to say Allahu Akbar to an Israeli after you refuse to even shake his hand. Nobody even mentioned the Iranian Kurdish a karate fighter who was having a dream to be in the Paris Olympics, but he was executed by the Iranian regime. Look at the symbol of the Olympic Games that he already marked on his hand in his wish to be there. Nobody even mentioned him. And if that's not enough, on the streets of Paris you could see on a bus stop stuff like that saying, when it comes to killing for sport, then there is no competition. This is just a bus stop in Paris. And even when it comes to not allowing us to wear any ribbon, at least our team decided to show in a very significant and unique way in the pool their way to say, bring them home right now. about the hostages. The last thing is, as you can see in the New York Post, if I don't, was reported that in a soccer game, Heil Hitler was actually chanted by pro-Palestinians in Paris. That's the Olympic Games so far. Horrific, satanic, diabolic, pagan, anti-Semitic display, which I have no intention in watching whatsoever. Now let's go to the real story today, the story of the tragedy in the north, the second largest massacre of civilians, second only to October 7th since the war started, took place last Saturday when a Hezbollah rocket fell in the heart of a Druze village and killed instantly 12 children and youth and injured nearly 30 of them. And so basically we're going to try and show you what happened. Take a look at this video that emerged today from the scene. They're playing, and then they hear the siren goes off, and then came the blast when the rocket just hit and killed instantly. By the way, 11 of them, we found their bodies. Number 12, we did not find his body at all. We didn't know where he is. His parents had hope that he's still going to be found. And apparently, he was the one the rocket hit directly. Small pieces of his body were just scattered all around. And only with the help of one of the pieces that was sent to forensic investigation, we determined that he's dead. 11 years old. He was the 12th victim. Take a look at what was left there. You know, this bomb shelter was right next to it. They didn't have enough time to even run to it. And pieces of bodies were just all around that place. Horrific tragedy that took place right there in the middle. And of course, immediately the Israeli chief of staff came to visit, the minister of defense. The wounded were airlifted all the way to a hospital in Haifa, as you can clearly see. Prime Minister Netanyahu was notified while he was still in Washington, D.C., hours before he was originally supposed to fly back home. He cut short his visit. He boarded the plane that took him back. This is it. He's boarding with his wife Sarah at the back of Zion's Wing, the name of our Air Force One, from where he could actually run an assessment of the situation. And upon his arrival, his entourage waited for him at the airport and took him straight to the headquarters of the IDF in Tel Aviv, where he held cabinet meetings already, as you can clearly see. And the results, as you can see, we already start seeing them. Number 2 in Hezbollah was just eliminated minutes ago. And again, I cannot show you footage because it just emerged, and you can find it on my Telegram channel. And if you want to know how you can get it, please, this QR code can take you there. By the way, we prepared for you something that I don't think any TV station or any channel has ever prepared. Let me explain what happened on Saturday. This is a 3D model of Mount Hermon and where this whole thing happened. Majd al-Shams is on the right, on the Israeli side. Shaba is the village on the Lebanese side. And a little truck showed up from the back. A launcher launched the Falak 1, Iranian-made rocket that has 50 kilograms of payload of explosive. And take a look, it was originally aiming towards an Israeli military camp, but they miscalculated and it actually landed on Majd al-Shams. Now, it's very interesting, folks, because look at what they reported in Al-Manar TV. We just launched a Falak 1 rocket towards the Israeli military base. They just forgot that they miscalculated, and that Falak 1, that heavy rocket that has a 10 kilometers range landed in that playground. We found pieces of it that confirms exactly which type of rocket it is, and it matches the original report of Hezbollah that they did that. Now, originally they actually were very proud. Look, we launched it. And even followers and admirers of Hezbollah tweeted something like that: the largest operation by the Lebanese resistance since the beginning of the war, 14 dead and dozens injured. They were actually very, very, very excited. But then, when they realized that they hit a Druze village, the narrative changed instantly. And they say that the resistance rejects all claims of responsibility. And now that's it. We didn't do it. They even claim that it was the Iron Dome that did that. But let me tell you, Israel never shot an Iron Dome. One of the things that happened then is that, one of the things that happened is that the terrain did not allow us to shoot an Iron Dome. Now the media, the scandalous media, the way they reported this whole story was unbelievable. I mean, take a look at what the BBC reported. The BBC says, Israeli strike on Gaza school kills 30. That's the day that they killed our children. And by the way, we did strike a school and we did kill 30, but it was all 30 terrorists hiding in the school. They didn't want you to know that one. But then when the New York Times reported, it says, rockets from Lebanon kills at least 12 in Israeli-controlled Golan Heights. What do you mean rocket kills? Who launched it? Why wouldn't you say Hezbollah rocket killed? The worst was the Washington Post. They deceived people because they put the funeral of the Israeli children, but they actually put an article, Israel hits targets in Lebanon. So when the reader looks at the photo and read the article, he thinks that the photo is of victims that Israel actually killed in the attacks on Lebanon. Unbelievable. If that's not enough, NBC, rocket attack on town in Israeli-controlled Golan Heights, kills 11. Who killed them? So, as you can see, unbelievable, unbelievable story. And again, I want you to show you once again the 3D map. Once again, if possible, take a look at what happened. Again, they launched a 10 miles range rocket that Iran is making, Falak 1, from the back of a truck towards an Israeli headquarters of the Mount Hermon Brigade. It's called Ma'ale Golani. They thought they are going to hit the Israeli base on the mountain, but they miscalculated and aimed it right below the mountain, and they hit the Druze village. They reported even that they launched that rocket. They just forgot that they may have wanted to hit Israeli soldiers, but they actually killed civilian children and youth. That's the story. And that's what you need to know. Israel vowed to respond, and I believe that what is going on right now in Beirut as we speak is just the beginning of a wider Israeli response that just started right now, and it will most likely go beyond that. Now, how will Israel respond? You have to remember Hezbollah is basically controlling three main areas in, we prepared a map for you to see where Hezbollah is in Lebanon. Take a look at this. It has southern Lebanon, of course, number one. It has the Bekaa Valley, number 2 in the northeast, and it has Beirut, number 3. Right now, as we speak, number 3 was hit. We intend to hit number 2 and number 1. Number 1 we hit every day. Number 2 is going to get hit as well. But it's not an all-out war for us, because an all-out war for us is when our troops and tanks will roll into southern Lebanon and take over and push everybody beyond the Litani River. Right now, what we have is air strikes that are targeting senior members of Hezbollah. And what we did so far, we destroyed some of the air defense systems so we can clear the area for our air campaign that must have started already. Again, we're talking about a major blast. We're talking about Haj Muhsin. He's the head of the project for a weapon on rockets precision. We know that the Americans even put $5 million bounty on his head because he was the one in charge of the killing of 200 Marines in Beirut in the 1980s, of course. Again, we're talking about the Dahya in Beirut. It was a major blast, and you can see much of it on my Telegram channel, which you can clearly see up there the QR code for. Speaking of the Israeli response, again, we will hit Hezbollah-related areas, of course, and a new player has emerged to threaten Israel if we invade into Lebanon, and that is Erdogan. He may have forgotten to take his medicine, and yesterday he already threatened that if Turkey was able to enter into Karabakh in Armenia and into Libya, Turkey can also come into Israel. And today he even said that if Israel is going to enter into Lebanon, he can actually place Turkish soldiers in Israel, he said. That's, unbelievable. Now, you may be surprised, but if you're a Bible believer and if you follow me and if you know what we teach about the upcoming war, it's not a surprise. We've been teaching forever that in the next war, the war that Israel is going to fight against countries in the second tier, Turkey will be a major player in it. By the way, Erdogan is a lunatic, is a psychopath, and take a look at how he treated a little boy. He wanted him to kiss his hand. The boy didn't, so boom, he just slapped him, and so the boy kissed his hand, as you can see. That's the guy we're dealing with, psychopath. And a short Gaza update, folks. And again, stay tuned right after this program to my Telegram, because I will let you know what happens in Beirut right now. In Gaza, as you remember, Gaza Strip, the war began there over 9.5 months ago. Take a look at the map. This is what happened there in the last few days. Gaza, as you remember, is divided to 5 zones. Israel is controlling the corridor in the center and the Philadelphia corridor along the border with Egypt. Again, the Netzarim corridor right there, and the Philadelphia corridor on the border with Egypt, as you can see. And in the last few days, Israel launched a campaign conducted by 3 divisions, divisions 252, 98, and 162, and we are basically pushing Hamas further and further and further towards the Mediterranean and making the humanitarian zone smaller and smaller, and that allows us to expose more tunnels, more people, more weapons, kill more terrorists, and even retrieve more bodies that could be of our own hostages as well. So this is it, folks. That as far as Gaza, we are wrapping up things in Gaza, moving some of the maneuvering divisions from that area to prepare for war in the north. There is no doubt, folks, that the elimination a few minutes ago of number 2 in Hezbollah, the elimination is going to drag us into something much wider right now. And again, I am right now posting more of the picture of the eliminated and who he was. And folks, a very long night is ahead of me, ahead of my team, ahead of my family, ahead of my country. And you know, I thank God I managed. Look, I didn't sleep last night as well. I managed to catch a power nap a few hours ago here on the sofa in my office, and that's going to keep me up for a while. Before we finish, elections in Venezuela, Maduro, as always, declared victory, although he lost the elections. Take a look at what happened. The same thing that happened in the Georgia elections, the same thing that happened also in the 2020 elections. Show them this graph. There you go. Somewhere at 3 a.m., something happened. Tons of votes were added to the losing part, and he then started leading. Same thing. If you're an American, and if you think that it's not going to happen again in America, kiss that thought goodbye. It worked one time, it can work again. It can work in America, it can work in Venezuela, and it goes the same. And it's interesting that the Democrats didn't really say any harsh thing against the stealing of the elections by Maduro. Why? Because they stole the elections also. I mean, and they're planning on stealing them again. Don't worry, they'll do that. Take a look at how he stole it. Not only that he stole it by fabricating numbers, but he literally sent his thugs to steal the boxes full of ballots so they will not be counted. Unbelievable. Now the people took to the streets, and they're protesting. They knocked down big statues of Hugo Chavez. As you can see, one of them is knocked down right here, but many more were knocked down. And in some towns and cities, the police and the army are changing sides. And as you can see, the people are clapping, and they're thanking them, because look, the power of Maduro is the army, the police, and the armed gangs. By the way, take a look at this armed gang leader who is telling on camera to the people that he's changing sides. I don't know if we have that video of the person with a masked face that he's basically saying. But okay, never mind. But just so you know, guys, they killed people. They're shooting live, and it's horrific. And it's interesting. I want you to see. Yeah, this is an armed gang, by the way. Take a look at them here. The guy is basically saying, we're switching sides right here on camera. Maduro, don't count on us anymore. By the way, you want socialism? You want communism? Take a look at what the streets of America in Philadelphia looked like 3 days ago. They don't even know what communism and socialism is all about, so they go out in the streets. These are stupid, lazy people that want the money of those who work hard. Okay? That's what they want. All of them are lazy bums. Look at them. Now, do you want to see the numbers of what Venezuela can show you, their performance of their economy? Take a look at the 1980 versus 2024. Take a look at South America in 1980 and South America in 2023. Take a look at the GDP. All the countries went way up, while Venezuela got stuck with the same exact number. Because socialism, ladies and gentlemen, does not work. Communism may be a nice idea, but it's against the human nature. And only if you are stupid, ignorant, lazy bum that don't want to work, you really prefer that system. That's it, folks. So that's Venezuela. I wanted to talk more about other things, but I'll keep them for the next update next week. There's some turmoil in Israel in regards to stupidity of the Israeli legal system that wants to prosecute soldiers that are actually guarding the despicable terrorists of Hamas. One of the Hamas terrorists was raped by probably members of his cell, and they told him, please blame the Israeli soldiers, because the legal system in Israel will surely prosecute them. They use democracy to attack us 10 months after October 7th. And it's the soldiers that are being prosecuted by our own prosecution, and not yet one Hamas terrorist was prosecuted. Unbelievable. So Israelis took to the street, and this is a big turmoil right now in Israel. Enough is enough. We will not, I guess they're trying to please the ICC in Hague or ICJ. I don't care. We shouldn't do that to our own soldiers. And this has to stop. This is it, folks. That's, again, I'm leaving now straight to Telegram. I'm leaving straight to Telegram to update you about what's going on in Beirut. This is going to be a very long night for us. We're expecting retaliation that will, of course, cause us to enlarge our response. This is maybe the beginning of a much greater war. But again, we trust the Lord. Remember one thing, folks, and I said that to one of my team members this morning. There's no need for anxiety or fear. Because if you look at the end of the book, we're still there. They're not. So our God wins, the keeper of Israel. We have a God. We have a keeper. We have someone who is there for us. They don't. So we must keep our faith. We must stay strong. We must stay upright. And we must remember that it is the Lord who can bless us and keep us. And let me finish with the Aaronic blessing upon you. יברכך אדוני וישמרך. יאר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונקה. יישא אדוני פניו אליך וישם לך שלום. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance towards you and give you his shalom, his peace. B'Shem Yeshua. Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, he is our peace. He will give us the peace. I don't trust armies, prime ministers. I don't trust parliaments. I don't trust anyone. I trust the keeper of Israel that neither slumbers nor sleep. I'm going home now. Take care of my family. It's going to be a long night for us. But I'm telling you, folks, keep your eyes on the Lord and trust in him, because turmoil, wars, and all of these things that are happening, they happen in Europe, they happen in America, they happen in South America right now. All over the world, evil is lifting its head and it wants to take over. Trust the Lord and pray. Thank you. God bless you. And shalom from Galilee, from Israel. Follow me on Telegram and follow us also on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X, and also on, I think that's it. YouTube as well. Thank you, God bless you, and shalom.